there's a moment nobody prepares you for. You're sitting at the family dinner table or listening to a parent's advice or watching relatives interact with each other, and something shifts. The people who raised you suddenly look different. Not worse, not better, just smaller than they used to be. Problems that dominated your childhood reveal themselves as patterns that never got examined. Values you inherited without question now seem like choices you never actually made. You still love these people, or at least you feel whatever complicated thing you feel toward them, but you can no longer pretend you're the same. You've outgrown the container they built for you, and now you have to figure out what to do with the truth that nobody in your family wants to hear, and that part of you still isn't sure you're allowed to know. Nietzsche understood that becoming who you actually are requires a kind of violence against who you were made to be. Every family, no matter how loving, installs a set of programs in their children. Beliefs about what's possible and what's acceptable. Definitions of success and failure, safety and danger, worthiness and shame. These programs were never chosen. They were absorbed before you had any capacity to evaluate them. And for most people, the programs run forever without examination. They become adults who are still fundamentally living out their family's values, pursuing their family's version of a good life, avoiding their family's fears. The moment you outgrow your family is the moment you realize the program is not you. It's software someone else installed, and you finally have the administrator access to examine it. The guilt arrives immediately and stays longer than you expect. Families have immune systems designed to prevent exactly this kind of departure. The member who starts questioning the shared mythology triggers responses that range from subtle dismissal to outright punishment. You'll be told you're ungrateful, that you think you're better than everyone, that you've forgotten where you came from. Nietzsche saw this as the herd protecting itself against the individual who threatens group cohesion by becoming different. Your family isn't wrong to feel threatened. You are becoming something that implicitly critiques what they chose to remain. Your growth is an accusation even when you never say a word, and the guilt you feel is the old programming trying to pull you back, to restore you to the self they recognize and know how to relate to. But there's something under the guilt that you can't unfeel once you've felt it. It's the recognition that staying small enough to fit into your family's reality means abandoning the person you're capable of becoming. Nietzsche called this the weightiest question: whether you can live the same life eternally and want to live it. If your family's expectations became your actual existence forever, repeating without variation, could you bear it? Could you want it? For most people who've reached the point of outgrowth, the answer is viscerally clear. The container isn't just uncomfortable, it's suffocating. And the choice you face isn't whether to leave, but whether to be honest about the leaving that's already happening inside you. You can pretend you still fit while slowly dying, or you can accept that you've already gone somewhere they can't follow. This doesn't mean cutting people off or delivering dramatic speeches about your evolution. Nietzsche wasn't advocating for cruelty or abandonment. What he understood was that real separation is internal, before it's ever external. You stop needing your family to understand you, because you've realized they probably can't, and certainly don't have to. You stop performing the old self in their presence, because the performance has become too expensive. You stop arguing about values because arguing implies you need to win them over and you don't anymore. The outgrown person relates to their family with compassion rather than resentment because they've stopped expecting the family to be anything other than what it is. The relationship changes not through confrontation, but through the quiet withdrawal of an investment that was never going to pay off. What replaces the old bond is something more honest and therefore more sustainable. You can love people without needing them to validate your choices. You can appreciate what they gave you without pretending they gave you everything you needed. You can visit without regressing, staying connected without losing yourself. Nietzsche saw that the real goal wasn't independence in the sense of isolation, but independence in the sense of no longer being determined by origins. The family remains part of your history without controlling your future. This is harder than either total enmeshment or total estrangement because it requires holding complexity. It requires being in relationships where you're no longer fully known and accepting that the people who were once your whole world now only see a fraction of who you've become. The loneliness of outgrowth is real and shouldn't be minimized. The family was your first tribe, your original belonging, and stepping beyond it means losing a form of home that nothing else will ever quite replicate. Nietzsche felt this loneliness acutely. He wrote about the solitude of the person who creates new values rather than inheriting them, who walks a path that no one has walked before them. But he also recognized that this loneliness is the price of becoming rather than merely existing. The person who never outgrows their family never faces this isolation, but they also never face themselves. They live and die inside a container someone else built, experiencing whatever range of motion the container allows and mistaking that range for freedom. Some people hear this and conclude that outgrowing your family means they failed you. That framing misses the point entirely. Good parents, healthy families, can still produce children who must eventually outgrow them. Growth isn't a verdict on the quality of the origin. It's simply what happens when a person continues developing beyond the environment that initially shaped them. Nietzsche would say that the family's job is to build a foundation strong enough to eventually be surpassed. The tragedy isn't the child who outgrows their family. The tragedy is the child who needed to and didn't, who felt the stirring towards something more and suppressed it out of loyalty or guilt or fear, who lived their whole life as a diminished version of themselves because they couldn't bear the weight of becoming. You didn't choose to outgrow your family. It happened because you kept growing and they stayed where they were. Maybe they couldn't grow further, or didn't want to, or faced limitations you'll never fully understand. Their stopping point is not your concern and not your responsibility. What is your responsibility is what you do with the growth you've already experienced. You can waste it trying to shrink back down, performing a self you've already left behind, managing everyone's discomfort at your transformation. Or you can accept that you've been given something rare and difficult, the awareness that you are not your origins, and the freedom to become whatever you choose from here. Nietzsche saw this awareness as the beginning of genuine existence rather than inherited existence. Your family gave you life. What you do with it was always going to be your own creation.